Remember the Joe Rogan Podcast with Elon Musk in 2018? Yeah, that didn't die down quickly enough. It turns out the federal government kept testing the Tesla CEO for a year after the podcast. And not just him, but the entire SpaceX. If anything, Musk publicly smoking weed on a podcast took the world by storm, even though he said it was legal, so technically it shouldn't be that big of a surprise, right? First off, why did the Tesla CEO publicly smoke weed in the first place? Well, in his words, it's legal, right? To which Joe Rogan replied, totally legal. And that little exchange just set off a firestorm back in September 2018, when Musk shared a joint mixed with marijuana and tobacco with comedian Joe Rogan on his hugely popular podcast. In fact, Musk happily smoked, drank whiskey, and went on to discuss a bunch of topics for over 2 hours, from boring giant tunnels under Los Angeles to what his brain keeps cooking when he brushes his teeth. Yeah, pretty diverse if you ask us. All in all, it was the marijuana incident that really got everyone's attention, and not long after the podcast aired, the media jumped in to talk about his behavior. And we're not just talking about random people on the internet or a bunch of news channels craving controversy. In fact, many stockholders and board members were absolutely outraged at his stunt. NASA investigated the rocket ship company SpaceX, and some even used the situation to complain about their boss and leave the organization. But if there's anything we know about Musk, it's that nothing can bring him down. So, as expected, he took it all in stride, but also left an email to all his employees that his behavior wasn't exactly wise. But the answer to why did he smoke a joint with Joe Rogan is simply the fact that he's Elon Musk. Need we say more? With that said, it turns out this wasn't the end to the controversy. The Tesla CEO said that the federal government didn't exactly let this incident slide and made him undergo random drug testing after his appearance on the podcast. In fact, they got the entire SpaceX tested. It sounds like someone doesn't trust Elon Musk one bit. Now, right during an appearance on the Full Send podcast that came out a week ago, Musk claimed that he got a lot of backlashes, which honestly isn't news to us either. But the reason this time was because SpaceX competitors took the chance to question Musk because weed isn't legal on a federal level, and SpaceX has definitely got some federal government contracts. The tech billionaire said that the consequences for him and SpaceX were pretty terrible, and he didn't expect so much criticism. Having said that, the 2018 interview with Rogan pretty much went viral at the time, but the interview was in California, where marijuana is legal for both medicinal and recreational use. Even though that was the case, Musk says he had to get random drug tests done just to prove that he's not some sort of drug addict, and they tested him for everything and randomly. So it wasn't really a day or so, but an entire year of random drug tests. At the same time, Musk felt for the whole of SpaceX, who had to be a part of the drug tests even though they weren't the ones smoking weed publicly on a pretty popular podcast. Up next, here's why smoking weed on a public platform didn't sit well with the federal government. Alright, so it isn't really clear how many workers were affected by this, but SpaceX had around 6,000 employees in early 2019, so take your guess. And after the Drug-Free Workplace Act of 1988, workers at any company, even if it's backed by Musk, that receives a federal contract of over $100,000 or more, are strictly prohibited from using or distributing any drugs in the workplace. In fact, the firm needs to have a drug-free policy workplace. Adding to that, during the interview with Full Send, Musk also discussed people's attitude toward the drug, and even talked about President Joe Biden's effort to get basketball player Brittany Griner released from custody in Russia, right after officials claimed they discovered vape cartridges that consisted of hashish oil in her luggage. The SpaceX CEO asked that if there are people in jail in America for the same stuff too, shouldn't we go ahead and free them too? In his opinion, people shouldn't really have to be in jail for non-violent drug crimes, and that was just a part of Elon's criticism about how the US prosecutes weed-related crimes. In his words, people seem to be pretty uptight about this kind of thing. Now, Musk didn't really say how often he smokes weed, but did say he's not very good at it. In fact, he says he doesn't even know how to smoke a joint. But the question is, was that just to save himself from another year of random drug tests? Moving on, Musk didn't just talk about his drug tests in the interview. Now, Musk has made many comments in the past about how weed isn't that good for productivity, and we also know how much of a workaholic he really is. Having said that, he did claim that psychedelics can be a game changer for some mental health conditions, and we know how crucial Tesla and SpaceX are for him. So when the entire company, and we're assuming 6,000 people here, are subjected to random tests simply because they're working for a man who dared to smoke a joint on a public podcast, you gotta admit that's pretty unfair. In fact, after Tesla's stock price dropped by by 9%, bringing its value down by billions of dollars. Musk now knew the chaos one rolled joint on a public platform could bring. And if you still have some other Musk-related questions, let us tell you that during the 3-hour interview with Full Send, he confirmed that he had 9 children and dismissed any theories about the existence of aliens, which was pretty shocking. And he also said that he'd moved to a $45,000 property in South Texas. Now, it's pretty small, at least for Elon Musk, but it's a cute little 3-bedroom house. Adding to that, he said that his friends came and stayed there, and they still couldn't believe it. But the home is in Boca Chica, Texas, where SpaceX maintains its launch site. That's probably why he moved there. And in other related news, first off, Elon Musk still needs to clean up his mess with Amber Heard. It's just one controversy after another now, isn't it? It turns out Musk is pretty busy warning people against taking on Amber Heard in fights she feels they're gonna regret it later. In fact, a former friend of the duo, who chose to remain anonymous for obvious reasons, brought up this news. Now, Amber shared her experiences and offered some pretty shocking insights. Allegedly, Elon seems to be calling her crazy, and even once pulled the anonymous pal aside and told them to stay away from her because he was scared that she might actually try to kill him. Now, the anonymous but seemingly sincere friend added that he definitely seemed pretty scared and said that Amber was crazy enough to do it. Jeez, insensitive much. Up next, judge orders Twitter to turn over Elon Musk data from 2021 users audit. The ongoing battle between the social media platform and SpaceX CEO has got everyone's attention, but here's what's going on right now. It turns out the company claimed the information didn't exist, but it sampled 9,000 users to estimate the number of spam accounts, and Musk might get access to Twitter data used in the 2021 audit of active users. All of the other information he asked for, hoping to end his $44 billion deal to buy the company, was straight away rejected after the judge called it absurdly broad. Now, after Twitter said the data doesn't exist and it would be burdensome to collect it, Chancellor Kathleen McCormick has given the company 2 weeks to do it. Finally, Elon claims Tesla cars will connect to Starlink's new cellular broadcasting satellites. Yep, Elon Musk just announced that the upcoming second-generation Starlink internet satellites are going to include cellular antennas to connect with phones from T-Mobile in the US, and soon enough also aim for other operators as well. Right after the event, he responded to tweets asking whether the connections are going to work with Tesla's electric cars, which are currently connected to AT&T's LTE network. And according to Musk, the answer is yes. Now, he didn't go into a lot of detail about how it's going to work or how much data owners can expect to access from these connections when they're somewhere out of reach by these terrestrial cell phone towers. Having said that, Musk did say during the event that the satellite to cellular coverage from Starlink is going to be able to provide a 2 to 4 megabytes per second link, which will be shared by everyone in the satellite's coverage area. Now, you're probably not going to get enough for some premium connectivity features, like live streaming videos from your car's camera, but it's still pretty cool. That's a wrap for this video. What's your take on the federal government forcing Elon Musk and SpaceX to undergo random drug tests for a year? Do you think it was justified? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.